Welcome to Kyiv. I've heard so many things about this country. This is my third time here. The first time I ever heard somebody who could not stop talking about Kyiv and Ukraine was Brock Pierce. 5 years at a party. I met him through another friend, because people will always meet good people through other good people. And he just could not stop talking about it once I said I was born in Romania, but I've been living in America and Israel most of my life. And I've always wanted to come visit. But it was another brother, another party friend, Ruslan, who came down to Bucharest 22 hours, 7 months ago, by car with Maxim, with Vladimir, with all his partners, and Dima, and they said, we gotta go to this d10e conference, because it's the first time in Central Europe, in Eastern Europe. And they drove 22 hours to meet us, meet Brock and I, exactly for what most of you are here for, which is we want advisors, we want capital, we want to be structured, and we want to have access to what you have access to. So welcome to d10e, which is really a magic show. If you look at the speakers, 300 some speakers that have come onto this stage in Amsterdam, Singapore, San Francisco, Bucharest, Tel Aviv, and now here, if you look at the track history, we could probably take a little bit of a credit for giving them a microphone, because they went out and raised Civic, 35 million, EOS, 500 million plus, and they're raising more money every day through their many, many ICOs conceived by Brock. Bancor, $153 million. Their ICO was 6 days after our conference in Tel Aviv. All the investors we brought from everywhere. We'll take a little bit of credit for creating that, not hype, but creating that aura of magic. Because we have a magician with us here, and his name is Brock Pierce, and he's shown us so much magic. He got me involved with this industry February of last year, so about a year and a half ago, when the market cap of all these cryptocurrencies, which I didn't really know that there were 621 back then, 1,011 I think today, that are at least on coinmarketcap.com, the market cap was only 8 billion. There's people like Jay Vartanian, a friend of ours who got involved when it was 5 million. So if this is your first event in cryptocurrency, the market cap, I think in the morning, was 125 billion. That's 6 times more than it was just 6 months ago when I had a chance to meet Ruslan Gavriluk, who had this great idea, a beautiful pitch deck, didn't need much revising, didn't really need my advice, but he just wanted to get involved. So we are here because we created some magic. We create a stage, we give people a microphone, and they do the rest, okay? We like to take 1 to 2% credit of that and give the stage over and over to other new people. And why are we in Kyiv? Exactly for that. Because some of you here are from somewhere. I think we have 5 people from Australia. I can't wait to take this show all over the world, every month, twice a month, because an industry is only created by people. And you got techies, and you got lawyers, and you got advisors, and you got capital providers. And most conferences, they take your money, they put on a show, and they have no parties. And Brock and I met at a party, so why not turn a conference into a party? So for those of you who had a chance to see what we did in the last 2 days, we summarized in 1 minute what we did for the last 2 days here in Kyiv. So I'm going to show you a quick video, and then I'll continue my little speech. Do not get to those parties, those events, those conferences. Hopefully we'll watch and learn, and that's why we do them monthly, and hopefully, maybe one day we'll do them even weekly. But we're actually trying to help other event producers create good conferences. So we created the Blockchain Event Producing Consortium. We also created the Blockchain Investor Consortium. And the reason is because if you don't have these, sometimes we joke and we call them cartels, but we're really not a cartel. We're a consortium. The industry doesn't grow. And if the industry doesn't grow, then all this wealth that's out there with this new way of creating wealth through new currencies, and every community becoming a central bank and issuing tokens and taking capital and hopefully doing good with it. And sure, we're gonna have a few bad apples along the way, and that's why governments are putting restrictions to kind of monitor this and make sure investors don't get left out in the dust. But the more conferences that happen, the more people they come up with ideas, and the better they package them, the faster they'll attract capital. There's more capital in the world that we know what to do with. It just needs to be deployed. We have among ourselves here David Bloomberg from Bloomberg Capital, 27 years in the venture capital industry, $500 million of investments, tons of exits, 60x, 30x, and so forth. You know why he came here? He came here to give a speech about life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice in a transparent society, and we thought it'd be cool if we do it inside the Museum of Corruption. That's how crazy we are. We take everything around and flip it. Why do you think you have no badges? Well, I'll tell you why. Because we didn't want you to have badges. But it wasn't me. It was a force out there that didn't want to make that printer work. Okay? So what do? We're going to stress about it? No. We're going to create what I've always wanted to do, which is a badgeless conference. You have to shake hands. You have to look in each other's eyes. You have to seek, who are you? Yes, there's technology, there's Volhova, and we have this app, and you can network, but who cares about that? Come to an event, go on the balcony, don't smoke a cigarette, and meet people, and you never know how you could help them. Don't look at it, what can you do for me? It's always about how can I help you, and it will always come back, and that's called karma. And I'm very proud to be very involved with a company called Karma, and we're now tokenizing Karma as well, because everything is now a central bank. So all your ideas and everything that you do is a central bank. So create that. This is the conference where you come and find the capital, but it's never gonna be by sitting in that row. It's gonna be by going out there and partying till 5 in the morning. That's where you're gonna find the people, okay? So enough about parties. Let's get serious about our conference. We have some amazing sponsors. We have a great team of people that put this together. But I really, really want to thank 4 individuals who, again, drove down for 22 hours to meet Brock and I. We gave them whatever advice we could. They created the first tokenized closed-end fund. And then Brock Pierce, of course, at the same time, exactly the same time, which is so amazing for historical value, created the first ever venture capital fund that got tokenized right in the middle of our eyes in 6 hours to get $10 million. And for Tassi, it took 30 days to get $7.6 million. It was so amazing that only 6 months ago this happened. And since then, we have all these big funds. I mean, Tezos raised all this money, they create a fund. EOS raised all this money, they're creating funds of funds to invest. It's just like if you remember YouTube. YouTube became this big phenomenon, 3rd biggest web portal, right? What did they do? Eventually they had enough money to go pay content, to create more content, right? But this is happening so much faster. It took YouTube 10 years to come up with that model. It took these funds less than a few months to realize I have so much money, but the market's not there. So how can we invest in them? So there's so much money out there. You just have to put on your creative hat, come to our conferences, watch the magic happen. So Konstantin, Maxim, Dimitri, and Ruslan, to me, are my new brothers for 6 months because they went against the odds and said, we're from Ukraine, we used to work in Africa, we don't really have these big bios from Wall Street, and we can't really attract capital from, like David Bloomberg goes out to Mitsui Bank in Japan and boom, here's a bunch of millions, because I have 26 years of background in venture capital. They came to our conference. And then the first day of the ICO, I woke up, and that was March 27th of this year. 400 people sent $1 million. And I was like, whoa, how can you get $1 million in a few hours? Of course, now that's no news because we've had people raise $35 million in 26 seconds, right? So what's happening is the speed of money coming into pockets and then that being deployed is just getting faster and faster, all right? So without further ado, because I only have 15 minutes, I'm going to introduce my new brother, the president of TAS, Token as a Service, which for us is a very important component of this conference because they wanted to host us. We're sitting in Tel Aviv on the 6th of June, and he said, I want to host this. Why is this in Tel Aviv? I wanted this to be in Kyiv, in my city. So this is why we're here, because he had a vision, and he allowed me to welcome all of you to come on this stage with him. So thank you very much for hosting us, and come on and tell us how you built this wonderful company.
Thank you, Mike.